Alrighties guys, back for this last video, the second part of my video game pickups from April to November. I don't think I pointed it out in the first video, but of course these are all PS4 games. That's really all I'm buying for nowadays. If I find some older games that interest me, I might grab them. If I find something that's Switch exclusive and I just have to get it at that moment, I will grab them, but right now it's still all about PS4. My current number of PS4 games is at 711. I don't know what it was the last time I may have ever talked about it here on the channel, but we're still going. I thought a year or two ago I was like, I could probably get to 750 and I'd be good. I think I'm going to blow way past that by the time I'm done collecting for this system. They're still releasing games on PS4. I'm not talking about like God of War or Horizon Forbidden West or anything like that. I'm talking about indie games, limited runs, putting out stuff. The PS4 is not going to be going away for a while, which my wallet cries. Alright, so let's get into this. We don't want to run out of battery life or anything. So I'm going to start with the non-limited run games stuff. First thing I'm going to show is from Strictly Limited. This took a while before they came in, but this is the Turrican Anthology Volume 1 and Volume 2. This is Turrican, Turrican 2, Super Turrican Director's Cut, Mega Turrican. This one's Turrican 3, Mega Turrican Director's Cut, Super Turrican 2, and Super Turrican Screw Attack. So, not Screw Attack, Score Attack. This has Super Turrican Score Attack. This has Mega Turrican Score Attack. I think that's Super Turrican is Super Nintendo version, Mega Turrican is Genesis version. Anyway, these are games that I thought were just like run and guns, like a commando style game, but when I was looking into them, I always have to do a little bit of research before I either say yay or nay. I discovered they were a little bit more like Metroid. And Super Metroid is one of my favorite games of all time. I've heard of these games for years, but I had no idea that they were kind of in the same vein. So when Strictly Limited said they were going to be doing these collections, I was like, I'm on board. So they had the anthologies like this that have all of these games. They had another version of it that just has a few of the games from these two on one, and then they had some really cool, nice collector's editions. This is right up my alley. Cool PS4 box art, simple cases, nothing super elaborate. So I was like, yes, give me those. But like I said, they were one of the longer waits that I had on a game like that in a while. But amongst a couple other extra little goodies, this one did come with a bonus CD. There's only about 20 minutes worth of music on it, 3 tracks. But I was like, cool, I like that kind of stuff. Alright, next up we have a game called Omori. This one came from Fangamer. Best I can say about this is it's a little bit more of a colorful version of Undertale, but it is kind of the quirky indie role-playing game that probably takes its nods from things like Earthbound and lots of other games. I thought it was really, really cool looking, and I was going to pre-order it earlier. I waited a little while because I forgot, and then I went back to Fangamer. I'll go to some of these like Fangamer, I Am 8-Bit, Strictly Limited, Special Reserve, Limited Run. Well, I check Limited Run all the time. But some of these other companies like Fangamer, I check every so often. And I was like, oh shit, that one's still up for pre-order. Better get it before there's any chance that it goes away. So, got that. This is really interesting. This is a game called The Eternal Castle. Very interesting art style and graphical style to it. Very, just basic colors, kind of dystopian looking. This game comes from Hard Copy Games. This is another one of those companies out there that does the limited stuff. But I didn't hear or see anything from Hard Copy about this. This came from Video Games Plus, which is a store in Canada. Like, it's literally a video game store in Canada, but they offer up a lot of their games online, and they get reprints of games that have been hard to find and can get really crazy. And in the case of this one, this is a game that it's a brand new game, but the lore around this game is that it's an old game that was lost to time, that was recovered and put out by Hard Copy Games. Like, it's a meta thing. It isn't an old game. It's a newer game. I thought the gameplay might be interesting. I really have to admit, though, it's a game I will try, but it was more of a game of it was more of, this is interesting and unusual, I'm going to grab it in case this is, like some crazy story down the road, or you remember this game? Oh no, I didn't get a chance to play it because it was just gone or it was too expensive. So that's the Eternal Castle. Speaking of rare games, hard to get, expensive, yada yada yada, I don't know how it is that I lucked out on getting a copy of this game for cheap, but this is Silver Chains. This is a horror game. This is from Germany. All of the language on the back is in German, but as I mentioned in the other video with Fist, Forged and Shadow Torch, if the front of it is in English, if I can look at the shelf and say that's Silver Chains, then I don't care about the rest of it. And as far as I know, there's English language on this. It's not a very highly rated horror game, but ever since I saw the cover of it and I was like, this is a horror game, PS4 horror game, I want to check it out. And then I saw how expensive it was, and it could be pretty pricey. I managed to get a hell of a deal on it. Some guy in one of the Facebook groups was like, hey guys, check it out, these are going for cheap. They're going for about a third of what I was expecting it to be. So I had to get that one. That was kind of like one of those big games to cross off the list. Okay, let's jump into limited run stuff. We have Alphadia Genesis 2. This is just another one of the Kemco JRPGs that LRG puts out. I try to grab as many of them as I can. If they look interesting, if they sound interesting, I go for the ones that are more like 16-bit Super Nintendo graphics and not really the 8-bit NES style stuff. Otherwise, I just get them. There's been a few that I looked at and I thought that looks kind of stale or boring or just not interesting, so I passed them up. Alright, we got another horror game here. This is Martha is Dead. This was another limited run distributed titles. It's like I said, a horror game. Middling reviews, but still, once again, it's a horror game. Not very expensive, so I usually pounce on those. Here we have the Castlevania. This is the Requiem. And what this is Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood on one disc for PS4. I used to own Symphony of the Night for the PS1. I might even get chastised for this, but once I heard that this thing was coming out and I secured my pre-order, I sold my PS1 copy because I would rather play it on PS4. One way or another, I just want to be able to play it. I have heard some people saying that this is kind of an altered version, like they don't always necessarily bring you the best version of these games when they bring them over to the newer consoles, but I don't even really care. I'm not even really hurt by that. I get a chance to play Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood, which is a little bit less easy to get. So I'm just glad to have that. Alright, next game here is Unpacking. This is another little indie game. Kind of like, say, Gone Home or that Lake game I showed in the previous video. Narrative-driven game. Has puzzle elements in that you are unpacking all of your stuff as you move into different places throughout the course of the character's life in this game. So this neat box design, this slipcover for the game that looks like a moving box that says Unpacking on it. There's the actual game cover. I have played this game because I was really looking forward to this one. And it's fun but it's not. It didn't have the emotional gravitas to it that I thought it was going to have. I think to a game called Emily is Away that has you as a character in like high school and college talking to this girl that you're interested in and kind of seeing their friendship / relationship progress. And that game resonated with me like you wouldn't believe. This one just really didn't. It was fun. It was interesting. You open the boxes, you pull the things out, you put them in the room somewhere. There are some fail conditions, as in, oops, you didn't put these things in the right spot, so go fix it. And then you still progress. I think I got the platinum for this, or all the trophies. It may not have had a platinum, I don't remember, but I did finish it off. It's a finished game. It's the kind of thing in 5 years I could play it again just for the fun of it. But like I said, it left me wanting a little bit more than what it actually gave. Still worth playing though. Alright, up next we have Quake, the old PC classic, first-person shooter, kind of the graduation from Doom up to Quake. I've played a little bit of it. I enjoyed it. I'd never played it back in the day, so it was my chance to give it a shot. Might go back to it and try to beat the game, but I had enough of a taste of it to know what Quake is all about. And up next we have Haven. This is another kind of narrative-driven game with a really cool art style to it. As you can kind of see, it's an animated art style. They are on this planet. It's basically like a couple, kind of, just living their lives. The tagline on the back is "Does love really conquer all?" So it's going to focus on the story. I haven't got a chance to play it yet, but as soon as this was coming out for the physical release, I was definitely like, yes, I'm going to get that. Here we have an interesting game, Always Sometimes Monsters. Now this is sort of like a game made in RPG Maker. This was a game that I saw some YouTubers play years and years back. It's lumped into that category of things that I've watched in the past that without having played for myself, I'm really kind of attached to these stories. And I had absolutely no idea that this was going to get ported over to consoles years later. So when LRG had this up, I jumped on it. I can't wait to play it. There is a sequel. I hope that they release that one on disc as well. Hey, here we go. We've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. So as opposed to the Cowabunga collection that I showed in video 1, this is a brand new game. This is put out by Limited Run, but it was also available in other retailers. But I did the Limited Run version. I don't even know if that they had anything that was specific to this. There is a free personal pizza coupon in this. I tried to use it when ordering pizza once, and it didn't work, so I don't know if I'll ever be able to redeem that. But I just had to have this. I loved the Turtles when I was younger, and this is kind of a modernized version of the games we saw in the Cowabunga collection. So I was all over that. Alright, up next we have the Coma 2 Vicious Sisters. Years ago I bought the special edition, I think it's called the Coma Recut. It's a nice little bigger boxed copy of this kind of animated horror game, side-scrolling, side-scrolling horror game. And I've never played it, but I was, padding that collection with some stuff that I would play eventually. And then Limited Run Games had this sequel. And like a moron, I said, nah, I'm not interested in that. I don't know why I wouldn't be interested in a sequel to a game that I did own. Why not buy it? So I went on eBay and found that it wasn't going for outrageous prices, so I ordered a copy. And if I remember correctly, this came from somebody who was selling from Alaska. So it's kind of neat that I hold something in my hand that was that far away to begin with. Alright, here is, I believe this was another distribution title from LRG, but this is Ender Lilies, Quietus of the Nights. Really cool animation style to this. It's another sort of side-scrolling I want to say it says Dark Fantasy 2D Action RPG, so maybe it's not really Metroidvania, but it still plays out in that 2D side-scrolling style, platforming and battling. It just looked really, really cool, so I had to grab that one. Now this one blows my mind a little bit, because I just noticed this sometime within the last 24 hours, but this is... It doesn't really have a lot of eBay sales to go off of, but my app that I do for gaming stuff says that this one's worth a bit right now. This is Mythic Ocean. This is also a distributed LRG title. This is one that I waited almost to the last second for before I ordered it. It says, teach the gods to create a better world or mess it all up. Exploration meets visual novel storytelling. There's a lot of animals. You may even control an animal. It's very weird. It says your advice, you're basically like giving advice to different creatures. It says your advice leads to thousands of possible endings ranging between harmony and pandemonium. And part of the gimmick to this game is to go through it and see what kind of endings you get from the different advice that you give. Very under the radar game. I'm looking forward to checking it out, but I just can't believe that this is going for a lot. I'm guessing it just didn't get a lot of pre-orders during its time. I don't know why people are still sleeping on the random stuff that LRG puts out. If you're a collector, you should be grabbing every single one of them. Alright, we've got another Kemco RPG. This is RP Golf Legends. I want to say RPG Golf Legends, but they literally have it listed as RP Golf Legends. This might be one of the most creative and imaginative JRPGs that this Kemco company puts out. A lot of people don't like their RPG games. All the ones that I've showed before, a lot of them have middling reviews and just, because they look like they were made in RPG Maker. But this one here is actually an RPG set in a golf action adventure. Now, it's a little derivative because Nintendo had a game a couple years ago called Golf Story, which was basically an RPG that took place in golf. So the Kemco devs of this game kind of ripping it off. But when I was looking into it, it seemed like this had pretty good reviews for one of these Kemco games. So I was like, I gotta grab that. Alright, up next we have Shadow Man Remastered. All I can really say about this is back on the PS1 Dreamcast era, there was some third-person action-adventure horror-style games called Shadow Man. And there was a sequel that I think came to the PS2. This is the original game, remastered for the newer consoles. It includes it says, new weapons, new audio, new enemies, and 3 new levels in this version. I had to have that. I own the first game on the Dreamcast, and I want to pick up the second game sometime in the near future. Alright, we're coming down the home stretch. 7 more games to show here. I'm going to go through 3 limited run game FMV, like the point and click style type games that I used to love from back in the 90s. There are companies that are putting out newer ones, and these are a few of the ones that I picked up from LRG. We've got I Saw Black Clouds. I don't know much about the premise for this, but when I saw that it was a full motion video style game, I grabbed that. We have Dark Nights with Poe and Monroe. Supernatural FMV adventure in 6 TV anthology style episodes. So I had to get that. I want to say this one is from the same people who did The Infectious Madness of Dr. Decker, which I actually really enjoyed. And then the last one we have here is Nightbook. This one, I believe, was made by the people who made The Bunker, I think. And I played that one recently. I really liked that one, so I'm hoping that some of these kind of keep the same vibe. Alright. I got a couple of double packs that I think are really cool. We have Blood Rain Revamped and Blood Rain 2 Revamped. These are the original Blood Rain games that are like PS2, GameCube, Xbox era. ported over to the PS4, and LRG did a box set like this that has both games. You could buy the games individually. You could buy them in really cool collector's editions. But as I did for the next thing I'm going to show, and I've got like a Star Wars one from in the past that I got, they put them in these. I really like this kind of presentation of the two games with a slipcover over the front of them. That's, I don't know, just really cool looking. So I got the Blood Rain one. The other one I got this past year, Turok, and Turok 2 Seeds of Evil. Much like Doom 64 that LRG had a hand in putting out, that I have, I just couldn't get over the fact that we had a Nintendo 64 exclusive game coming out on any other console, but especially my beloved PS4. This packaging doesn't really give off any, hey, this is PS4, but, you know, there's the blue. As Turok and 1 and 2, I would love for them to do the third game and Rage Wars. I don't even know if Rage Wars is a single-player game, but just the idea of having like the entirety of the original N64 Turoks on a PlayStation system would be awesome. So there's that. Now, this second to last thing I'm going to show is not limited run, but this is kind of one of my bigger pickups. This is one of those things that I expected was going to get super expensive and hard to get, and I managed to get it for a pretty decent price, even though I'd waited a while, because this is a 2020 game, so it's 2 years old. Package, unfortunately, has some dings and stuff to it, but I don't care. It's brand new, never been opened, and I'm looking forward to cracking it open and playing it. But this is Sakuna of Rice and Ruin, the Divine Edition, and I can already tell from looking back on my camera, this looks kind of cool. It's got a really shiny, reflective cover. It's a very big, thicky style game case. This Divine Edition contains the game, 128-page full-color art book, 3-disc original soundtrack, and an exclusive cloth Omamori charm. This is, let's see, take on mythical monsters in dangerous environments, cultivate rice to increase your divine power, help your human companions survive and thrive. Basically, it's like a action RPG mixed with some like Harvest Moon style stuff. And the art style is really, really cool. I don't know how well it'll come through there, but the art style for the characters and the game itself, really nice. So glad I was able to get this and not have to just go with a standard edition. Okay, and then the last thing I want to show, I'm showing this last only because of what comes with this, or what I ordered with this. We're back to limited run games. We're back to Axiom Verge 2. It's been a while. I don't even know if I did a collection video or a pickup video for when I got the first Axiom Verge on PS4. But the Axiom Verge games are very Super Metroid-like, or Metroid/Super Metroid. And Axiom Verge 2 is just the sequel. I want to say Axiom Verge is maybe, graphically, it's kind of in between 8 and 16-bit, and this is more 16-bit all the way through. I have played a bunch of the first game, but I haven't beat it yet. I do need to get back to it, especially with, having the sequel here in my hand to check out. But why I kind of saved this one towards the last is because Limited Run Games has been doing, games and merch and a bunch of stuff like that. But they recently started up, I can't remember what it's called. Jared Petty, formerly of IGN, really liked the guy on podcasts and stuff. I've seen him in over the years. He's kind of heading this division. They called it, is it Print Run? Limited Print Run? Something like that. Anyway, they've released some books, but this was their first and so far only strategy guide. And if you've watched any of my stuff over the years, you know that I love me some strategy guides. This strategy guide covers both Axiom Verge 1 and 2. And fun bit of trivia here, it says Prima's official strategy guide because they got basically the licensing rights to have Prima Games on the cover of this. Whoops, right there. Now, this isn't the Prima of old. Like I said, it's basically a licensing thing that just says that they can put this on there. It's not the people who ran Prima Games back in the day, but it's very much a book like anything you would have seen from Prima back in the day, with maps and level walkthroughs, strategies, and tips. I had to have this. And anything, I pretty much, unless they charge ridiculous prices for them, any future strategy guides that Limited Run Games puts out, I'm going to be getting them. I love strats, especially for games that I have and that I want to play. But just the strategy guide in general, I would never pass up free or cheap ones, even when they're for crap games and things that I don't care about. That was a big highlight for my collecting this year, since the last time I did my videos, from April until November. Okay, so that's it. I'm concerned about the camera and how much longer the battery and the memory on the card is going to last, so I'll try to keep this short here at the end. The main thing to let you know about is I do have a smaller stack of games for December's pickups, and in a couple of days, just so I make sure there isn't any last minute stuff that I grab. There'll be one more video. I don't even know. It's the 27th as I'm doing this. I don't know for sure when I'll be able to upload this. I gotta go to bed because I have to go to work later on tonight. So it may be tomorrow morning on the 28th before I even sit down and mess with any of this. The gap between these videos and the December pickups may only be a couple of days. But I promise to you who if you give a damn, but in particular to myself, back to the monthly pickups. I always have something to show every month. There's no reason why I can't do this very simple little thing. Whether or not I'll start doing any other kinds of videos again, I don't know. Whether or not I'll take the time for vlogs or, lists or any of that kind of stuff, reviews, that kind of thing. I don't know. That's up in the air. But the pickups videos, they'll come back. They'll be regular again at the end of every month or at the start of the new month. I promise. Okay. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.